Hello, my name is Gracie Hastings, and I'm going to be reading a few pieces for you. This first one is a piece that I wrote sophomore year. It's called Haze, and it's about what I do not want. I don't want welcome mats. I don't want an overgrown lawn or a forgotten about garden. I don't want carpet or wallpaper. I don't want popcorn ceilings. I don't want dimly lit bathrooms or the scent of citrus in the air. I don't want flickering light bulbs. I don't want white paneling on the exterior of my house. I don't want to watch each plank slowly become more weathered and touched by the hands of the clouds. I don't want to see their vulnerability. I don't want people to be able to see mine. I don't want to be viewed as a glass window without the shatterproof. I don't want broken doorknobs or loose floorboards. I don't want a home that easily crumbles. I don't want the phrase, "let's start a family," to mean let's settle down. I don't want roots too strong to break or feet implanted into cement. I don't want to be held down by paperweights, relying on the ticking of a clock for hope. I don't want steel bars for shower curtains and boards for air vents. I don't want a forced family bond. I don't want to let my love for the little things come to a stop too soon. I don't want my children to resent me for holding on to them for too long, not allowing them to see the world from a different window. I don't want dead roses. I don't want crunchy petals to collect below a glass vase as a result of rotted love, and I don't want to be responsible for cleaning them up. I don't want gold picture frames placed on the walls as a display of artificial commitment. They're being held together with masking tape. I don't want to stick it out for the sake of something other than myself. My heart is no stronger than anyone else's. I don't want dependence. I don't want to rely on hypothetical hands to hold me when I may be breaking. I don't want to consider myself any less just because I have someone to fill in the blank. I don't want temporary stability. I don't want to be held up by snapping table legs and caving in walls. I don't want to lean on decaying wood without knowing it. I don't want to discover splinters embedded into my skin afterwards. I don't want to come home to the same routine, the same picture, the same tune. I don't want to drink out of the same mug at the same time every morning. I don't want to watch the sunset on the same side of the mountain, the familiar purples and blues weaving in and out of each other like interlacing fingers. I don't want outdated scenery to get in the way of colors that I don't know yet. I don't want buried candle wicks, lost beneath the wax and unable to ignite. I don't want misplaced knickknacks or years wasted because I don't know what path to take. I don't want to have no direction. I don't want to feel stuck. I don't want confusion. I don't want my vision to be clouded by a white haze, blurred and stagnant. There are places that are too pretty to be skimmed over, futures too close to not be considered. Thank you. The next two pieces that I'm going to read are actually from a project that we did this year for the Creative Nonfiction Unit. We wrote our own encyclopedias containing more than 75 entries of basically anything that we wanted to write about. So this first one is called Gracie. My name means grace, which is something that is very clear to anybody who lets it roll off the tongue. It is Gracie on my birth certificate, but most people assume that it's a nickname for Grace. I have never thought that the meaning of the word belongs to me, because I've never seen myself as graceful or elegant or the embodiment of courteous. I am somebody who messes up a lot, who is rough around the edges, who is nervous. My head hangs low sometimes, and my posture is bent and shy. I am somebody who presents herself as meek, and I am not holy, and I forget to count my blessings. Sometimes I say my name over and over and over again to reclaim it, because to me, the IE is something different. It's Gracie, 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 and it is lighthearted and joke-cracking and sometimes not perfect. It is me. It is mine. Thank you. The next piece that I'm going to read is also an encyclopedia entry, and it's called Lift Your Spirit. If my spirit were her own being, she would be holding onto my heartstrings and climbing them, trying to see through the cloudiness of cold days and sad thoughts. She would be smiling right now, forcefully fighting the storm with solely an expression, swallowing the rain for fear that it will wash her away. In this moment, she is surrounded by whispers and melancholy music. Her body is bruised and limp. She is holding the weight of chaos on her shoulders, but she will not let tears fall from these eyes. She's protective, shrinking, but the fire is growing inside of her. Her arms are getting tired. She is awaiting the day when the clouds clear, and until then, she is pushing and pushing and pushing. Thanks. This next piece that I'm going to read is a poem. I wrote it while Sierra de Mulder was here last year to do a residency, and it's called A Study of My Sister as an Only Child. She sits outside in the gold puddles of sun, in a pink plaid dress and a perfectly paired hat, in her mother's arms. She is mom all to herself. Something that could have been, but couldn't last. Because right now, in this reality, she tells me that she floated away. This family got bigger, this world got busier, and she felt microscopic. But here, in these dollops of dew, under this blue afternoon in her mother's arms, she can take childhood by the scruff of its neck and play with it like a rag doll. She has no distractions. No pregnant mother breastfeeding her toddler while another little boy does circles around this picnic blanket. Because here, there's only one child to manage. No awareness of what loneliness is when she hasn't even reached age 6. No split, diced, ripped attention. It all belongs in her hands. I wonder how this life would have treated her. Thank you. Okay, the next poem that I'm going to read is actually from this year during quarantine, and it follows the 20 Little Poetry Projects prompt, meaning for each number in the poem, there was a set of instructions or a miniature prompt that I had to follow to create an overall cohesive poem. Unruly. 1. I am the half-empty glass of water evaporating in front of the windowsill. 2. I am cycling through the air like time, ticking and ticking and ticking and losing itself in memories and feelings and the feeling of lips on skin, like butter and salt. 3. For some reason, I have forgotten what pride tastes like when it is sugar-coated on the tongue, and I no longer smell the sweetness of my successes like I did 2 months ago. My fingers coast across his skin. My eyes glaze over into the color orange. Earth goes in one ear and out the other, the muffled sound of reality buzzing. 4. Losing yourself is a real thing, like melting or swallowing the weight of the world. 5. Say Gracie 3 times fast in the streets of New York at nighttime. I wonder what will happen. 6. I am the glass half full of love and loss. 7. But I don't believe losing yourself for a moment is a bad thing. 8. I tell myself I am a disproportionalist, in which sometimes I forget to tend to an aspect of life, like responsibilities or growing up. I tell myself that it's okay. 9. Because sometimes fulfillment comes in the shape of letting yourself go. Because humanity is the epitome of imbalance, right? 10. You can't have your cake and eat it too. My mother has always said, a phrase I've never understood but see myself grasping loosely as I speak, as I navigate emotions and go through phases of priorities. 11. The delicate writing of reassurance weaves itself into my daily mantra. 12. Like stars placing themselves into the universe as if to tell the sky that they belong there. Beamingly beautiful and utterly confident. 13. I imagine making my bed in the sky to tuck myself in at night. 14. She admits to losing the part of herself that is synonymous with adult. Finds herself upside down without her feet on the ground, but instead toward the constellations that spell out lover girl. 15. Eventually, it will all come flooding back. Every sense of self. I will find myself right side up again. 16. For now, I am a love-laced disaster, a passionate downfall, a powerful slip-up of unruly groundedness. I ask for forgiveness. I sway in the direction of youth. 17. There's no day like the day you lose yourself to compelling desire. 18. Carpe diem. 19. Allow my lips to crawl toward his and my body to dance in the rain like a fantasy. 20. Muffle the sound of reality like static. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Thank you. The last piece that I'm going to read is actually the last entry in my encyclopedia project, and it's called Z is synonymous with end. And I wonder what that looks like a lot. Part of me thinks that I have lived before this life and I will continue to find a place in the next. Part of me believes that our spirits are everlasting, that they build themselves based on what is absent in the universe. I believe that once one thing ends, there's always something else that manifests itself into existence. I believe that my soul is becoming, and that it is connected to so many others. I believe that in the midst of every other being, I am important, and I am something contributing to a greater thing, just like the rest. I know that every day I am becoming more content with this idea of end. I am planting myself into the ground deeper and deeper, and I am inhaling what is alive, until everything is put to rest and then risen again. Thank you. Okay, lastly, I'm going to read some acknowledgements and thank a few people. Thank you to Mrs. Anderson, or McNew, for taking all of us under your wing and truly showing us what it means to be loving, motivating, and believing in all of us endlessly. I admire your strength as a human, as a mother, as a woman, and as a writer. You have pushed me to be vulnerable and open up in my writing, and I have been able to confide in you for life advice. You have shown me what it means to take life bird by bird. Thank you to Ms. Fischow for constantly seeing the best in all of us and pushing our ideas to their fullest potential. You are such a positive light, and I admire you for constantly being there and offering all of your support no matter what. You are a beautiful soul, and I'm going to miss your energy. To both of you, thank you for making this department feel like a home away from home. You've both guided us with love and strength and have given us the material we need to grow and become the best version of ourselves. I thank you both for being so understanding and willing to teach, even when I struggle to find the motivation sometimes. I promise your support does not go unnoticed and never has. I owe everything I know about writing to you guys. To my fellow seniors, I love you all, and it's been amazing going through this journey together. I am so proud of us and all that we've survived. It's been an honor to listen to your stories and to be a part of your stories. I've watched all of you blossom into beautiful writers and owe everything to you guys for making me feel like I have people to lean on and to exist so fluidly with. 4 years is a significant amount of time to be around one group of people. We formed a little family so naturally and have blended our words with one another's to create some beautiful art. I've experienced some amazing times with each and every one of you. Sean, Sarah, Avon, Kat, Sullivan, Amanda, and Mina, you all have my heart. I want to thank Dr. Havermill for all of your dedication and love to our department and to each of us as students. And I want to thank all of the staff and teachers for making Barbara Ingram feel like home. Thank you to my parents for supporting me in my passion for writing, and thank you to my entire family for playing such a significant role in my life. Thank you for everything that you do. Lastly, thank you to anyone who was inspired a piece or a poem or a story, and thank you to anyone who has listened to my words. I have found my voice through you. I have found my strength through you. Lastly, I am honored to introduce the next writer. She is Sarah Malott. Thank you.
Hi, so my first piece today is called Butterfly Pieces. It is a essay I wrote junior year. The assignment for this was to write a piece in the style of a research essay. So, Butterfly Pieces. There are over 17,500 types of butterflies around the world, all of them with a uniquely painted picture upon their wings. Lepidoptera is the scientific name for the species, derived from the Greek words for scale and wing. They are the only insects with scales covering their wings. The English did not know so much. They only saw the way the insect could glide through the air so smoothly. Butterfly. They did not know about each colored point placed one by one on each wing. They did not know about such intention. The first time I caught a butterfly, I killed her. I took her paper-white wings and rubbed hard. The powdery residue collected on the tips of my fingers, the evidence of a delicate crime. Still, she flapped hard from my grasp, falling to the grass where she would take her last breaths. I watched as she flopped without mercy until gracefully she gave up. Her lace cape crumbled into nothing, and all that was left was her plump caterpillar core. There was no butterfly without her wings. She was only what made her beautiful. I used to pick through our backyard looking for caterpillars. I made so many homes in so many jars, poked so many holes in so many lids. Inevitably, the caterpillars would die, and I would hurry outside looking for a replacement. At church camp, I once caught more than a dozen furry caterpillars and stuffed them in a Ziploc bag. They died too. I prided myself on collecting them for so long. I did not understand that looking at a once beautiful dead thing is not at all like looking at a beautiful living thing. I did not understand that these creatures were not made for collecting. The Very Hungry Caterpillar was one of my favorite stories. I love the bright colors scattered across the pages. I, too, wanted to eat and sleep until one day I'd be strong and beautiful. Caterpillars are not known for their beauty. They tend to be browns, grays, and greens. The idea is that they're able to blend into their surroundings in hopes of not getting eaten. Maybe it is their helplessness I find so alluring. My parents took me to a butterfly garden once. I learned about the plants that had the sweetest nectar, the most enticing sip, sip, sip for her little straw mouth. In one room, over 100 butterflies flitted around me. A bright blue princess rested on my elbow. Before my mother could get a picture, she was gone again. She did not want her portrait to be captured. How utterly exhausting it is to be beautiful. To be a butterfly, the caterpillar must first digest itself, everything disintegrating into goop. She has to completely fall apart and start from scratch. Soon, the proteins and the tissue come back together for their final performance. I never knew this. I was always taught that the transformation was powered by magic or God. In that explanation, the insect loses all of her credit. But this is an act of triumph and perseverance and growth. All of her living has been in preparation for this moment. Studies have been conducted to show that the butterfly remembers everything. She comes out of the cocoon with all of the knowledge she had before. She remembers her predators and her favorite resting place. She remembers her first kiss and the shiny pink pop of a sunset. I have outgrown myself 1,000,000 times over, but I still carry with me everything I've learned. I've fallen apart and put the pieces back together. Everything has brought me to this stage, but I have not forgotten the growing. We live in a world of landslides and tectonic plates. Everything is constantly shifting. It only makes sense that we have to grow to keep up with it all. Okay, so my next piece is called Almost Heaven. It is from my A section in my encyclopedia project that we completed this year, and it is just a short excerpt about West Virginia. So, I've spent a lot of my time making fun of West Virginia. It doesn't matter if we're talking Confederate flags, raging alcoholics, or funny accents. You can always count on my commentary. A friend of the family attends WVU, and over the summer they took me to Morgantown to see a Mountaineer football game. As soon as we walked in the stadium, a woman with lots of garb and cut-off jean shorts was positioned over a garbage can, puking her guts out. I saw more Trump bumper stickers in one area than I ever could have imagined. People either spoke loud or louder than loud. The iconic pepperoni roll that my friend got me was soggy and cold. However, I wasn't thinking about any of this when the Mountaineers came back in the third quarter to win the game. I wasn't thinking about it after the game was finished. We all stood up in unison. If you haven't sung Country Roads in a stadium full of drunk, committed WVU fans, you haven't experienced the joy of the Lord. Not one face was without a smile as wide as the Blue Ridge Mountains. Not one person was unsure of where they belonged. This next piece is from a fiction story I wrote junior year. It is in second person, and I did this to make the audience feel more in tune with the narrator of this piece. When you arrive at the house you drove away from years ago, it looks like an old friend. You don't have to ring the doorbell because he is already waiting for you on the porch, oxygen tank by his side. He cries so hard when he sees you. He holds your son's face in his hands and kisses him like he used to kiss you, on the forehead, then each cheek and the chin. He struggles and runs out of breath, but he doesn't let it stop him. You go inside and all of the sameness hits you like stale air, a breath that has already been let go of. Here is the same bed he once shared with your mother. There is the window you sat by when everything in the world had crumbled to pieces. All of your school pictures line the walls. Your empty smile mocks you as you try and reacquaint yourself with this past. You promise him that you will not leave, that you will stay by his side until the end, regardless of when that end should appear. Your son is shocked by this. Not the fact that you are doing something for someone else, but that you are doing it knowing that this man cannot offer anything in return. One night, you and your father have a heart-to-heart by his bedside. You talk about Mom, about why you left and why you never looked back. about how that independence was all from your mother and how similar you guys were, about how even though you were almost the same, you never felt like you could tell her anything, about how talking to her always felt like something you should want to do and not something that you should have to force. You tell him that maybe mothers and daughters are not always supposed to be best friends. Maybe parenting is just like any other transaction, a silent contract that reads, "I'll wipe your butt now if you wipe mine later." Maybe nothing ever went wrong, but nothing ever went right either. Then you recall all of the torment he caused you in your childhood. How, when you woke up one morning explaining that you didn't recognize yourself in the mirror, he told you to stop playing around and get dressed. How he told your friends they were more like daughters than the one he'd already had. How each "suck it up" felt like him turning his back on a problem that he had to have seen. How even through all of these, he was still your rock foundation, which is why it hurts so much. He will explain that he thought these characteristics were what made you, you. That depersonalization sounded more like an accusation than a diagnosis. He tells you that maybe the two of you are just a couple of great actors, you pretending like you care, and him pretending like your pretending was okay. Then you recount your adult life. You feel like you owe it to him for reasons you do not understand, to tell him about what you've been up to. You tell him about all of the moments that have led to this one. You remember everything you've experienced with dates and details as opposed to what it all meant, how it all felt. You'll talk to your father more in these days than you ever did growing up. It will make it that much harder to lose him. On your 49th birthday, he will pass on in the afternoon. You sit in his bed and drink hot tea as you immerse yourself in his musk. You move back into your childhood home for good. You swear to yourself that this is the last time you'll ever move cross-country like this. Your son goes back to college in New York. You renovate the house and throw away all of your grade school pictures. You spend days in the same four walls of your father's bedroom, your parents' bedroom, sorting through all of the stuff he left behind. You find trunks of shirts he used to wear. You find pictures of the two of them living life before you and with you. In all of this mess, you find a journal. Your mother's. You flip through the pages. Your mother, who you remembered as smiling and happy, looks so depressed in the confines of these pages. She had written a war story in which every day was a losing battle, and she was doing her best to minimize the casualties. Her last entry, the morning before she killed herself, is a detailed description of how Thanksgiving just depresses her beyond belief. You remember that Thanksgiving. You remember not wanting to celebrate at all. You remember wanting to go back to bed because the idea of being present for a whole day was exhausting. In this way, you see that you and your mother differ. She was crushed under the weight of the world, but you were so weightless, floating away from anyone or anything that mattered. You walk out to the garage. You sit in your SUV. You do not turn it on. You do not go to sleep. You try your very best to feel something. This last piece is a sestina I wrote last year. It's called A Sestina for My Madness. Yesterday, I was learning to hold myself. Tomorrow, I'll learn some more. A slow process. I haven't yet decided if age is what pushes life along or if in our high capacity, we mindlessly roll through. My heart has become a piñata. I bat until I'm blue, but it does not crack open. Look. This organ is blue too. My life has become a treasure hunt. I hold the map, my eyes fixed on the happiness. My heart is where the X should be at the end. I am done with slow now. Forget about speed limits. I want to get high on something real. I'm calling out from the wreckage. Send help or something else. Surprise me. At what age will I stop wanting to get older? I still ask about the blue sky. Mama, this part might be hard to watch. Hi. I think I'm getting lost again. I put my life on hold for my sadness too many times. This fall is slow, like trying to force yourself to sleep after breakfast. Hearts break all the time, right? Who decided that the heart loves anyway? I will start loving with my hair, and with age as it grays, I will cut it off and feel nothing. Slow down, 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 but I am already so low. I blew a kiss to the wind. I hope it doesn't go to waste, but wait, hold on. I forgot my smile at home on the kitchen counter. High-fived that sucker into a portrait to remind me the high road always has less traffic. This is rush hour. The heart doesn't look so simple, you know? I'm deflecting. Hold my hand and walk me through. Confessions need coaxing, but age helps erode the ropes I've tied them up in. My mother's blue eyes make pools of my brokenness. Right now, I'm slowly treading through my own murky waters. My well is low after it rains. I can only speak in short phrases with high frequency, and I anchor myself to these bullet thoughts in the blue above to blanket me, leaving shattered skies and my heart still bruised, and my tongue still mine. At this age, it's a wonder I speak at all, that my reputation is still worth upholding. See, this blue I keep talking about? It settles deeply in the slow. Hold on to the cliff I jumped from, can't see the bottom, I'm so high, but my barometer heart says I can't stop the fall. All of this an unraveling being. And finally, for my acknowledgements. Maybe this makes me a little bit of a narcissist, but the first person I want to thank is myself. There are many days when I didn't think I'd make it here. Finishing this reading alone is one heck of a feat. Next, I want to thank my parents, of course. My mother, first of all, for sticking by me when everything goes wrong. For making me laugh when I want to cry. For rubbing my back when I did cry and telling me that it's okay. For being an incredibly strong woman and showing me how to walk gracefully through this world even if I stumble sometimes. To my father for teaching me what it means to put family first. For making me go visit all of my relatives even when I didn't want to. This is probably the reason I love stories so much. Thank you for showing me how to survive in a small town. Thank you for fostering my love of all things political. Thank you for leaning into my questions about right and wrong. To my brother, you are the weirdest, funniest, loudest, most interesting person I've ever met. Thank you for teasing me. Thank you for letting me tease you. Thank you for trying to make me smile whenever you have a chance. I never thought I'd say it, but I'm going to miss you in college. To the rest of my family, whether we see each other once a year or once a week, I am so grateful to be related to such incredible people. Thank you for each recital or concert or reading you had to sit through. Thank you for holidays and birthdays and spontaneous pool days. To all of my teachers in the Washington County school system from kindergarten to 12th grade, thanks for putting up with me. I'm sorry I talk so much. To Miss Forney, that one time freshman year when she told me I really was a good person. She might not remember it, but it meant a lot to me at the time. To Mr. Drabsick, Mr. Klinger, and Mr. Nakor, whenever I want to scream about how much I hate men, I think about the three of you and the kindness you've shown me over the years. Thank you for teaching. You've impacted me in ways you will never know. To Miss Fishow, God, I was such a mess when you got me freshman year. You were the shy new girl, and I was a monstrosity. Thank you for all that you've done Thank you for all that you've done for me as a student. Thank you for all that you've done for me as a person. I love you and will miss you dearly. To Miss McNeil, I think it is fair to say that I've learned just as much about how to exist in this world from you as I have about writing. You showed me love and patience when I didn't deserve it. You held my hand whenever I thought I was falling apart. I can't say I would have graduated without our talks in senior seminar this year. So much of my time is spent contemplating my decisions and whether or not you'd be proud of me now. If you and I were born in the same year, I think we could have been best friends. Thank you to Maureen for rescuing me more times than I can count. Thank you to Brooke for making me laugh until my sides hurt. Thank you to Chloe for all of our little adventures and letting me know it's okay to break the rules sometimes. To Kat and Avon and Sullivan, better known as the gang, thank you for giving me the weirdest sense of humor I could possibly ask for. To Sean for his fantastic hugs and his ceaseless compliments. I'm gonna miss you, you crab-walking fool. To Amanda for being my slam camp roomie and my chiropractor. To Mina for being the person I strive to be each and every day. It isn't fair you get to be so beautiful inside and out. To Gracie for reminding me to be myself unapologetically and for surviving chemistry with me last year. To the rest of the writing department, you guys have become my family. You made high school 1,000,000 times better than I ever could have imagined. And finally, to everyone who finds themselves in my writing, whether it be overt or otherwise, thanks for letting me exploit you for my own artistic gain. Sorry, I'm just a writer. Next up, I want to introduce Avon Mayman. Avon has a presence that is both chaotic and incredibly calming. It is a great pleasure that I've gotten to befriend them over the past 4 years and make so many wild memories. I give you Avon Mayman, Poetry Out Loud champion, collector of dead animal hair, and one of my best friends.